I'm Natalie from Spinal Flow with Nat. I just wanted to, first of all, ask everyone to maybe put your hand up who has pain, disease or illness in their body. Everyone? So this is the reason why I'm passionate about health and healing, is because I understand what it's like from my perspective of growing up and having chemical, physical and emotional things in our spines and how it affects us. So first of all, I did have a photo of me as a child and my mum. We grew up in a small country town and it was pretty, there was nothing too serious happening in our life. It was pretty good. The majority of my time, my hobbies were riding horses. So falling off horses a lot, doing those sorts of things. So this is the physical component about what's going on in our body. And we think, oh, well, we were in a small car accident only going 40 kilometres an hour. That's not going to affect our health. But it's like, think of that whiplash effect on your neck. So that's your physical thing that happens in childhood. And it's like, okay, just a child can bounce back, but if we're holding on to that for say 20 years and then we have pain, disease and illness coming on, and we think, okay, why all of a sudden do I have a condition that the doctor has told me about? And here's a pill to take that's going to fix it. So the next thing that happened when I was 18, I joined the army and they gave me 4 vaccinations all at once. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I'm not against that. But soon after I started experiencing seizures, and they weren't just small seizures, they are called nocturnal grand mal seizures. So anytime I had alcohol, I'd go to bed and have a massive seizure. Obviously I wasn't awake, so I wasn't aware of it. But with that came an injury, a shoulder injury, in the form of a dislocated shoulder. So every time I had a seizure, the shoulder would fall out of the socket, and for years after, and even to this day, if I'm not very careful about how I maneuver my arm, my shoulder will fall out of the socket, which is very painful. Then I got the first autoimmune disease, which it's called ITP. I'm not going to try and say it, but this is one where I was bleeding, I got my periods and I couldn't stop them. So then I got put in hospital, and then for the next 3 years I was on steroids, trying to get my immune system back into working. The next one that followed from that was Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid condition. And again, the only real suggestion that medical people have is, let's put you on some medication. And I'm not against hospitals or doctors, there's a place for all of that. But it wasn't getting to the core root cause of what I had going on. And so a few things that I've done is change my diet, change what I do. But the real reason that I wanted to share my story is because the majority of people that I've come across have something going on in their body. Are we willing to do the work that it takes to heal ourselves? Because that is my belief, and why I do Spinal Flow is that our bodies can heal, and we've got to believe that. So I've done years of chiropractic care, I've had dental work done, I've had my mercury fillings removed, diet changes, I've tried everything. And the things that I know that work, and I'm still a work in progress, are the 5 essentials that I believe in. We must move our bodies, we must get the sun, vitamin D, clean drinking water, plenty of fruit and veggies, and sleep. I think sleep is vital as well. The other thing is, obviously Spinal Flow is about calming down our nervous system with whatever's happened in our bodies so that we can live the best life. So for most people who have a blockage at their C1, the C1 is the top vertebra in our spine. When we have that blockage, we are in our heads. We're not living from trusting our heart and our intuition. So for the majority of people I see with this misalignment is anxiety, depression, in the head, can't sleep, and there's just stories running constantly. So they're not in their body and they're not trusting what they already know. So Spinal Flow, it comes from chiropractic. It is a cracking, no twisting. It's just a very gentle technique where we access points on the body, brings the wave through. We see where it's getting stuck in the spine. We try and encourage that wave through, and most people say after the first session they sleep better, they have more ease in their body, and they just feel better overall. The big caveat around that is that if you had something in your body for 20 years and you think that it's going to be changed in one session, I'm sorry, that's an illusion. If it's years of build up to get to this stage, it's not going to be removed after one session. The other thing that I always tell people is the psychologist talks about what happened to you. Spinal flow is letting go of what's happened in the body. So we don't have to relive whatever trauma happened to us. It's more about the body that's held on to that story, and we can now release that and not have the pain, disease and illness. So I've talked about the chemical, the physical and the emotional. So I've had 10 years of chiropractic care, and I've always had that pain in my neck and shoulder. And when I started having this treatment on myself, I realized that I no longer had that pain in my shoulder from my shoulder constantly dislocating. And I realized that there was probably an emotional component to that I hadn't thought of. And so after going and having 10 plus treatments, I was just like, oh my God, there's finally ease through my neck and my shoulder. So the biggest thing that we look at when it comes to spinal flow is we want to see what your posture is doing. So if, for me, for example, if my shoulders are pulled forward like this, I'm probably protecting my heart. I've got blockages through my thoracic spine. I can feel them, they're hard. So we want to, when we remove these blockages, we want to get that flow to come through, and we want to be able to stand up straight. And as most people, especially women, we protect our heart, we don't want to show our chest, and we've probably been hurt in our life. So we have that emotional component as well. The biggest thing about posture is that it's the body's way of showing what's happening, and are we prepared to listen to what's happening. And it's not about standing up straight. If posture isn't about laziness, it's where a block is in our spine, and what can we do about it. So the other thing that happens when, say, our body is in the fight flight, our tailbone is tucked, and this can lead to so many other illnesses and disease, like the autoimmune conditions and other things. The biggest thing that I know is we have to take charge of our health. We have to eat correctly. We have to drink enough water. We have to move our bodies. If they're the easiest things we can do for a starting point, when you get on the table and have spinal flow, then your nervous system can settle down from all the stuff that we've all been through. So what it takes to heal is we must commit to care, and whatever form of treatment that you decide to go down, is we have to commit to the process. Like I said, it's the onion and the layers of stuff, and it's not being under the illusion that it's just going to take one session when you've had something for 20 plus years. I was going to say something about, I've got a special here today that if anyone signs up for a session today, the next follow-up session I can do complimentary as a part of the expo. I guess the biggest takeaway that I can tell people is that if you've tried everything, are you willing to try something else to help yourself heal so that you can live the best life possible and feel great in your body? Because I don't think we're coming here to suffer with pain, disease and illness. Okay, who wants a session on the table?